Hi YouTube, my name is WMBishop. You can also find me on eToro under the username WMBishop. I'm an experienced investor with almost 19 years experience. I'm here today to talk through my portfolio performance on the eToro platform for the month of June. My portfolio is a long-only equity portfolio. I do not invest in any other asset class, and I do not use leverage. I believe that the best investments in the stock market will not always be found in one country, and so I choose to invest or keep myself available to invest in companies listed anywhere in the world. As such, the benchmark for my portfolio is the MSCI World Index. On eToro, you can invest in an ETF that tracks the MSCI World Index. It's got the ticker symbol SWDA.L. Now, returns for the month of June, based in US dollars, for the MSCI World Index as a proxy here with the SWDA.L ETF, returns are down 8.7% for the month. For comparison purposes, I've also included the S&P 500, which was down 8.39%, and finally my portfolio, it was down 5.19%. Now, I know what you may be thinking, not a great result. Investors don't like to lose money. However, 1 month is an incredibly short time in the world of investing. Over the longer term, over say a period of 3 to 5 years, is where we will expect to make money. Over the long term, as well as the short term, we need to compare our performance against a benchmark. And here you can see that I have outperformed my benchmark by 3.51 percentage points. And so that should be considered as an excellent result. I will tell you, however, that successful investing is achieved over the long term. We should not fixate too heavily on short-term monthly movements. By doing so, by fixating on the short term, we may find ourselves changing strategy from time to time. This will in turn lead us to situations where we are effectively timing the market, and as such, we will not get the results that we perhaps deserve. Returns over 3 to 5 years are far more important to look at when analysing portfolio performance. Over the long term, it is earnings that drive share prices. Over the short term, however, it is market sentiment that drives those share prices. 2 of my companies this month reported earnings results, Ashtead and Nike. Ashtead reported fourth quarter revenue growth of 18%, net income growth of 30.4%, and diluted earnings per share, they were up 31.3%. These are year-over-year figures, so here we are comparing the fourth quarter of 2022 against Ashtead's fourth quarter 2021. Also, if dividends are your thing, you will be pleased to know that the company raised their full-year dividend by 40%. Nike, on the other hand, they had a different experience. They had revenue decline for the quarter of 0.9%, net income was 4.6% lower, and diluted earnings per share 3.2% lower. Again, these are year-over-year figures. However, revenue and diluted earnings per share, their figures did come in higher than consensus analyst expectations. And so, as such, that is considered a good result for Nike. However, the market sentiment is negative right now, and so the share price for Ashtead fell by 17.19%, and for Nike, their shares dropped by 13.8%. The only other piece of corporate news that was relevant to the performance of my portfolio this month was, in my opinion, with Kindred Group. If you are not familiar with Kindred, they class themselves as an online gaming company. Many people will refer to them as an online gambling company. Their biggest brand is a company called Unibet. They own and operate online bookmakers and casinos. In June, it was announced that the Dutch regulator had granted Kindred Group a license to operate in that territory. The Dutch market is huge for Kindred, and the shares rose by 7.7% on the day of the announcement. However, optimism for the company swiftly changed to pessimism, and the shares slid by 14.74% over the month. 7 out of 23 of our investments this month had double-digit price declines. So you may be wondering how I beat the benchmark. Well, the key is diversification. Diversification means you do not put all your eggs in one basket. You invest across industries that you understand, and you invest in companies in those industries. Well, the way I do it anyway, you invest in companies in those industries with a sustainable, durable, competitive advantage. 8 out of 23 of my investments this month underperformed my benchmark, whereas 15 of those investments actually outperformed the benchmark. My top 3 gainers for June were Medifast, up 9.19%, Domino's Pizza, up 7.62%, and Monster Beverage Corporation, up 4.02%. None of these companies had earnings reports in the month, and no major corporate news. Medifast is a company you may not be familiar with. They are a health and wellness company. They are sometimes referred to as a multi-level marketing company. One of their main competitors is Herbalife. Now, there is a concern amongst the market that regulation at some point could be introduced which will harm the business of companies such as Medifast and Herbalife. As such, the share price of Medifast has been beaten down of late. However, Medifast, if you read my updates, they have huge growth, and they have huge growth potential. Over the last 5 years, revenue has grown at a compound annual growth rate of more than 40%. Diluted earnings per share have grown at more than 56%. I believe there's an incredible opportunity for Medifast, and I think that in this month, the market has realised it has beaten down the share price too much, and that is why the share price has grown by 9.19%. For Monster Beverage, there were no corporate news. However, if we look at aluminium, or aluminum, however you like to pronounce it, if we look at the aluminium price, we know, this is a year-to-date price, we know that it is higher than its normal. This is important for Monster because all of their drinks are sold in aluminium cans. On the 4th of March 2022, the price of aluminium hit a high of $3,873. Since then, it has declined. At the start of, in fact, the end of May, the price for aluminium was $2,763.5, and by the end of June, it had fell down to $2,401.5. That is a decline in the price of aluminium of 13%. This will feed through to margin improvement for Monster Beverage. Monster and Domino's both use shipping containers. This is a 1-year graph of the price of a shipping container. We can see on the 10th of September that the price of a shipping container peaked at $11,109. Since then, we can see that the price has declined. If we go to the 3-month chart, these are weekly prices. On the 27th of May, we see that the price of a shipping container was $7,851. And by the end of June, the start of July, that same shipping container cost $6,577. That will lead to margin improvements for both Domino's and Monster Beverage, and in fact any other company that uses shipping containers to move their product or raw inventory around the world. Portfolio changes. This month I made 2 changes to the portfolio. At the start of the month I bought a company called Tegna, and towards the end of the month I sold Swedish Match. Tegna own and operate local TV stations in America. They also operate some channels that are sold across syndicated networks. They're an acquisition target for a company called Standard General. Standard General have offered to buy the entire share capital of Tegna at a price of $24 per share. Now, I bought Tegna at a price where, if this deal goes through, and I expect it will by the end of 2022, my investors and my copiers and I, will make a return of more than 10% on the investment. I bought after the deal was announced. There is a difference between the price at the time and the target price. This is known as a merger arbitrage strategy. Swedish Match, on the other hand, that was a long-term investment. However, that changed on the 11th of May when Philip Morris, a larger tobacco company, made an offer for the entire share capital of Swedish Match. Their share price offer is 106 Swedish krona in cash. And towards the end of the month, I had the opportunity, which I took, to sell the shares at 104.55 Swedish krona. I did this to eliminate the risk that the deal may not go through, and also to remove exchange rate risk from the portfolio. Looking towards the rest of the year, and in fact into 2023, I will continue to invest in companies with superior fundamentals and competitive advantages in comparison to those in the wider market. I look ahead to July. There are 12 quarterly earnings reports being released for the companies in my portfolio. In the meantime, I will begin to invest the cash balance that has built up largely due to the deposit made on the 1st of July. Here's one final look at my performance for the month of June 2022, where I outperformed my benchmark by 3.51 percentage points. Okay. One final thing for me to say is none of what I have told you in this video should be taken as financial advice. I am not a registered financial advisor. I am an investor on the eToro platform. If you are looking to invest, you should always do your own research. And if you are unsure about anything, please seek the advice of a suitably qualified, independent financial advisor. If you have liked this video, please hit the subscribe button, tick like on the video, and leave me a comment in the comment section. You can also follow me on eToro under the username WMBishop, and perhaps you would like to copy me. Please feel free to do so. Thank you for listening.